Hello everybody and welcome to the guide for how to not be a shit killer in Dead by Daylight. I've gotten a killer up to rank 1 a few times, and probably got more 4Ks and double pips than I can count that are worth counting. And I think I've got a few decent ideas to share with some struggling killers out there who maybe find yourselves to be a little bit shit at a killer. Hopefully I can help you out. If you're a pro killer, this guide video isn't for you. You're probably better than I am, which is awesome. Go out there and murder some people, you know? Do learn how to hide the red stain. This is probably one of the most helpful pieces of advice I can give you, and that's why it's coming first. I want to make an impression on y'all. The second helpful advice is going to come, most helpful advice is going to come a little bit later, but the red stain is that like red flashlight looking thing that survivors see when you're looking around. It's basically a cone in front of your face that the survivors see. Now you don't see it, but it's always there. It's very important to be aware of that. Since any survivor that's actually like worth their weight in sacrifices will use looking at the direction of your red stain to try and predict which way that you're going. When possible, you want to walk backwards or fake around corners or just generally kind of hide your face the way that you're facing from the survivors when they don't have direct visual contact with you. That makes them think that you're going to go in a different direction, and it makes it really difficult for them to predict your movements. I'm going to give you an example of this right now because I think this is a very important tip. So watch as I back into a tier 3 lunge with Mikey through a pallet, and then followed by a sneaky little pallet swing where first, before I swing through the pallet, I hide the red stain around the corner so they didn't know I was coming. Do not get too tunnel vision. Alright, killers need to know when a particular survivor or a particular objective is not worth their time. There's some generators that aren't worth protecting. There's some survivors that aren't really worth chasing. If a survivor is giving you the runaround and they're just frankly better than you, which happens, break off when you see another survivor in a compromised situation. Chasing, generally speaking, is better than wandering on aimlessly, so you don't want to just leave the first survivor that pallet loops you once. That doesn't mean that they're good, first of all, and if you have no other good objectives that's worth going for, it's better to chase and try to get some hits in than to be wandering on aimlessly. But chasing a good survivor won't bring as much pressure as chasing a trash survivor that you can down in a lot shorter time. Speaking of pressure though, do keep up the pressure. Killer is all about pressure. Map pressure, gen pressure, hook pressure. Keeping up the pressure is the best way to keep survivors off of generators, and it gives you time to collect hooks, get more points, and get you closer to your 4K. So map pressure basically means that survivors are constantly worried that you might appear at any time. Having high map pressure, sometimes based on the killer, like a hillbilly or a nurse, has by default high map pressure, but there's some perks that can help you with that as well. You want to have high map pressure. You want them to be worried that you're going to pop up at any time. You don't want them to be able to predict where you are or how fast you can get to them. Gen pressure is your ability to protect generators or to force generators that you don't mind getting popped. Sometimes, if it's off to a rough start, you might want to try to centralize around like 4 or 5 different gens and keep them highly pressured and allow some of the other gens that you just can't get to in time to be taken. You want to have the survivors in a situation where you have a lot of pressure on the gens that they want to do, and they have a hard time getting to them without you being right on their butts. Hook pressure is your ability to get hooks very quickly. Some killers are really good at this, at chain hooking. So Hillbilly is one that's really good at chain hooking, and Nurse is pretty good at that. That's why there's some of the best killers out there. High map pressure, high gen pressure, high hook potential. But there's also a couple of really good perks that can help with chain hooking as well. Make Your Choice is one of them. Barbecue is another one of them, and there's a whole bunch as well. Devour Hope can be really good, but of course, Hex Totems can be taken away from you pretty early on in the game sometimes. It's often more important to keep up pressure than it is to actually get a kill. So I'm going to show you guys a clip here where I switch off a weakened survivor who's pretty much dead on the hook, but they already have a ticking trap on their head as I'm playing Pig. And I switch to a survivor who is much more capable of getting a gen done. This helps to keep the pressure up and keeps the gens from being done. Gives me more time to get hooks. Don't camp. Camping in general is an awful way to get 4Ks. If you want to just remain as like a mediocre killer and just barely pipping each time and you never challenge yourself, then camping is totally reasonable. But if you actually want to get better, you have to get into chases. And if to get to chases, you have to leave the hook. Do practice map awareness. So after playing a map a certain amount of times, as survivor or as killer, and you might want to play as both really to get a good idea of where different objectives are, you kind of get used to where the pallets are likely to be. You get used to where there might be vaults available for survivors or shortcuts as a killer. And so being aware of the map and the obstacles where survivors can try to lose you will help you determine your next move. If you know that there's almost always a pallet behind this one blind corner, maybe you hide the red stain and you come in swinging. Don't only pick the most powerful perks. Learn how to play with a multitude of perks. You never know what the next meta is going to be, and a one-trick pony is not how you become a pro killer. Do use add-ons. This shouldn't have to be said, but I can't tell you the amount of times I've seen people with hundreds of good add-ons that they never use. They just sit on them. Use the add-ons. They're easy to come by, really, and they have a huge effect on how killers work. I would argue that an add-on has a way larger effect on the killers, in most killers at least, on their kit than a flashlight does for a survivor's kit. They're really important to have, and they're really important to understand. Some of the most powerful killers are only good with the right add-ons, and they're pretty trash without add-ons. Don't feel obligated to let survivors win. This is one of the things that as a survivor I used to complain about. Oh, my 4%, my 4%. You know what? Sometimes I'll take it easy on a group of survivors that had like some really awful luck, but I never feel obligated to do so. There is no 4% rule. Nope. You're teabagging, all that stuff? No way. No way. No 4%. F your 4%. F it. I don't give a flying fadoodle. That feels good. Yes! Oh, baby, yes! Ah! Oh, it hurts so good, doesn't it? Ah! Oh, from a 0 kill to a 4 kill! There's no reason not to go back to the hook that was just rescued, unless you perhaps are working on a better objective that's more valuable. You should play whichever way you feel most comfortable playing, but I would say keep in mind that your actions will affect how the other survivors treat you. I personally am not a fan of tunneling. I don't tunnel as a killer. If you tunnel as a survivor, don't be surprised if the rest of the game devolves into a teabag flashlight fest at every single pallet. If I'm personally in a survivor with friends and the killer tunnels down my friend, all bets are off. I don't care about winning anymore. It's now my goal to just cause the utter destruction of your emotional well-being for the rest of the game. You know, is it healthy? Probably not. But the point is, you don't have to let survivors win. You don't have to take it easy on them. The 4% rule is BS. But do keep in mind that your actions affect how the game is played. That's it. Do use your ears. So survivors are very noisy. They're always running around and grunting and moaning like in a low res porno. And you should use this. This is valuable to you as a killer. So turn up your headphones, get a good set of directional headphones, and you'll hear survivors healing nearby. You'll be able to tell which way they're running after a flashlight blind or a blind corner. I always like that. They flashlight blind, they try to run past me, around me, and I can hear them going, and I follow them while blind to the best of my ability and stay on them. Don't forget that this is a game. If people stop having fun with the game, they'll stop playing it, and then there will be no more Dead by Daylight. So play in a way that you enjoy, of course, because that's the point of a game, but hopefully a way that others might enjoy as well. You can't please everyone. There's going to be survivors that complain about you running back to the hook. There's going to be survivors that say, well, you never even left earshot of the hook. Well, maybe you shouldn't have been YOLO saved then. You can't please everybody, but being intentionally awful probably doesn't help anybody. This is maybe some advice I should practice myself. After a rough game, maybe switch sides and be survivor for a little bit, and then come back to the red rum later. Nothing really. Shit. Oh, nice! Sucks to be you, though. Oh, the balanced landing! Nice! Nice, guys! Well played. Well played. Well played. So I hope you found some of these tips helpful. Take it from a former Survivor main. I used to only play Survivor. Killer can be a ton of fun, but it's all about controlling the pace of the game. It's all about outplaying smart-ass survivors. Use your ears, hide the red stain, keep up the pressure, and know the map. Happy hunting.